should give us a really interesting weekend, potentially of firsts as well. So this should be quite an interesting campaign for everybody, and certainly around a dry Spa. It's nice. I have to say, although we harken back with rose-tinted glasses to those brilliant races of the mid-90s and early 2000s in the wet, in reality, these days, the second it rains, you know you're actually in for a really difficult day at the office rather than not necessarily an entertaining one in Spa-Francorchamps, just because it's such a procession at times around here, in the junior single-seaters in particular. So I'm quite pleased that the first race, at least of the weekend, is going to be run in bone-dry conditions.
Saturday very much is sprint day. As you mentioned, the first race here with Formula 3. Then in around about 2 hours' time, we've got the F1 sprint. Then about an hour later, we've got the F2 sprint. Then we get F1 qualifying. So it's a steady progression today. Omi's also got the action from the Porsche Super Cup qualifying coming later on tonight in our delayed coverage, thanks to Sky not showing it live. So Omi has to do some jiggery-pokery. But Omi, Freddie Slater, reverse grid pole position, the man who surprised us all in Bahrain. Now, could he surprise us again?
Yeah, he finished 10ths away from the win to Nicolas Solov that day. This is only his second Formula 3 weekend. He's doing Freca and GB3 this year is Freddie Slater. So it is a big, big moment for him. He's basically getting a few rounds before his permanent drive next year, and in both of them he's going to be a contender in the sprint, because he's going from pole position today, and he finished second of course in round 2, as we mentioned in that sprint race. He had a retirement in the feature race though, due to a mechanical issue that day, so we're hoping to avoid that tomorrow. But let's see what Slater does, and it's a circuit which he won here in Freca, and he also did a last to first in GB3 as well earlier this year.
See the grid alongside us on the screen. Freddie Slater for Noah Stromsø, Bruno Dapino in 3rd, Charlie Verts up to 4th, Tanaspol into Privazak in 5th, Nicolas Solov in 6th, Ugo Gachuru in 7th, Marcin Estenshaw in 8th position, Roman Belinsky in 9th, Callum Vozin in the top 10. It's going to be Brad Benedivez who has pole position for the race tomorrow. There's Rebecca waiting to press the button as well, alongside the F3 starters. Procedure for race directors. We are all set then for the first race of the weekend. Let's just hope and pray that we're going to get this one off to a good start, because I think the one thing, Jake, that we have is that the F3 guys, they're just a little bit nuts. Spa's not the place to be nuts at.
They're very eager on this particular circuit, and everybody wants to make good use of the start and wants to launch away pretty quickly. But hopefully everybody's had their Weetabix this morning and they're ready to charge down to the first corner in good stead. Let's find out how it goes.
Freddie Slater on pole position of the inside line. Noah Strom said the outside down to turn 1. Green flag at the back. Eyes to the red lights then. 2, 3, 4, 5, pause, lights out, we're underway, it's a good start, actually coming again from the McLaren. Bruno Topino's going to come up through the inside line. Brandon Bedoya further back as well, being blocked out by one of the positives of Brad Benedivas for tomorrow. Into turn 1, Freddie Slater's kept the lead. Noah Strom sets in second position, up to third position, Bruno Topino, right behind him as well. Charlie Vincent Aspel to prove his up, it's side by side, coming up as well. Martin Estensio's going to have a real run side by side through Eau Rouge, up the hill to Rally, on we go, and I just wince a little bit as the drivers go side by side. There's a little bit of a twitch coming mid-corner only, but everyone gets through safely. Yes, they do.
Absolutely, great start for Slater, able to maintain the advantage out in front, but can he keep the lead into Leclerc?
Around the outside, that's going to be a little bit touch and go, but Freddie's made a bit of a twitch mid-corner, and there's going to be contact. How on earth did Stromstead avoid that one? That was going to be a big accident, but everybody gets around him, Jake, as they head down towards Rivage.
Just about kept themselves neat and tidy, but it's always very difficult as now drivers start to feel a little bit more confidence in the tyres. They want to try and go for that inside apex, try and dive in a little bit earlier. Everybody just about getting into the rhythm now, but it is a perfect start from Freddie Slater. Succumbed to the pressure in previous bouts in the early phases on this circuit, but after his run here in Freca and GB3, he's got the measure of the circuit. All he needed was confidence in the car, and after yesterday, he's got plenty of that. We might not see him challenged too many times now in this sprint.
One of the framers going a little bit wide on the outside line as well, coming back Thing Jaraji alongside Alexandre Gusti as well, trying to get side by side. Lots of dust being kicked up down at Fania, side by side coming into Stavolo as well. Not the position as Tim Traminich tries to get ahead of Callum Volzin as they come now through the curve to Paul Frere. Now you put your foot down, don't lift until you get to the bus stop as you go through Blanchimont as well for the first time. They've all been pretty much status quo. I do not like, however, the look around the outside that Gusti's trying on Tim Traminitz as well. I never like seeing moves around the outside of Blanchimont. How Max Verstappen did it a couple of years ago. 10 years ago now, I will never ever know. Side by side to the bus stop though, as well as the Rodin Motorsport of Callum Volzin tries to move ahead of Rafael Kamara as they come across the line. Slater still leads, Kamara's up to 10th, Volzin and Brad Benedimo stays in 12th position, and now on the inside line, that's Tanas. Is that Tanas Privazak? I think so on the line, can't see getting ahead of Charlie Verts.
I think that's Boyer.
Oh, is it?
It's Boyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just sent it up the inside of Giusti. That was brave stuff in the background. Lecorte trying to defend. This is going to get tight into Eau Rouge.
Bedoa's on the outside line, and this should be an okay position if he holds it. Yes, he does. Bedoa still in 17th. Lecorte can't get through. The two drivers you don't want to go side by side are now side by side. They've had the most accidents so far this year, as Slater's under pressure, this time from Stromstead as well. Vert's up to third ahead of Bruno Topino and Ugo Gachuru. Round the outside, Ostenshaw gets through. Jake, fantastic. They are not holding anything back.
It's wonderful that we've had a completely clean lap for the first race, and everyone's starting to really settle in now, but there's confidence coming in spades on this circuit. Once you really start to feel what the car is doing, you can really start to attack. And one of the things that I've noted about the F3 car this year, one of the things I never liked about the previous iteration is it was so difficult to attack before you started to drop away and the back end started to get loose. This car has so much more bite to it. It's got so much more aggression to it. You can be a little bit more hungry in some of these corners. It's a much better, much stronger race car to learn your craft. And Freddie Slater under big pressure here from Stromstead. This is going to be fascinating to see what he does with it, because Freddie is a very good driver under defense. He knows exactly where to place the car so that he can keep his opponents at bay. Stromstead will probably get DRS next lap because he's within 0.6 of a second still. I don't see Slater getting too far away from that mark. So this is where it's going to be fascinating to see what will happen moving forward.
Run down the start-finish straight, run down the Kemmel straight. That's your two DRS zones, and Stromstead's already getting so close into the bus stop that isn't the bus stop anymore. Into the right, into the left, uphill, now straight down. There's the DRS detection line as well, the exit of the corner. Contact! That's Brad Benedivez just touching the front right suspension of Mary Boyer. Just a little bit of a knock as we've got one of the Is that one of the VARs going a bit slow coming down the pit straight? I can't see it's one of the MPs. I think it's VAR could be. We'll check it in a minute because it was way back in the order. Meantime, this is going to be side by side as Boyer defends again from Brad Benedivez. Yep, fall back into line. You can't go side by side up the hill there. Badoa right behind you. And here comes Stromstead. He's going to go for it. Slater defends the inside line. Stromstead holds the line straight, cuts off the inside. Brilliant bit of racing between these two. That was textbook. And now Noah Stromstead takes the lead of the race.
Nice stuff there. And Slater, while he would have wanted to defend, the overspeed was too much with the DRS there for Stromstead as he was able to go on by. It's getting tight. Leon up the inside of Lacorte and he's able to get by.
Yeah, he was wild, wasn't he? And he's still side by side with Lacorte doing battles. No, Leon's not exactly holding this one up. He's going to go wide. I think, Jake, he was sideways coming out of Lacombe. He was off the track at Malmedy. He was wide at Ravage.
Yeah, he was desperately trying to keep his foot in. Look at him, he's all over the shop though, Leon. I wonder if he just overcooked the tyres on the way into the first apex of Les Combes, because the rest of the lap, he's basically been trying to salvage himself. He's been trying to save his bacon in every single apex since that point. He got loose on the second part of Les Combes, got wide on the third part, kicked up the dust, tried to hold his position round the outside, went wide onto the marbles. So he's basically been trying to back himself up and save a little bit of the problems that he gave himself early. Let's have a look again at the start. Very nice on the second row of the grid. Nice tuck in on the inside line there, I think, from Ugachuku, managing to finish off the line for third position initially. But it was so tidy. That's one of the things I'm really impressed with in F3. You mentioned earlier that it can get a little bit wild. Well, the first 3 laps, it's been about proper racing. These drivers have clearly listened to the race director. They've done their homework. They've learned after the fog from yesterday. They've had a chance to take a little bit of a breath. Anything that happens after this point is pretty much fair game, as Rafael Kamara, look, had to take avoiding action on the end of Les Combes. That's the championship leader. He's got a big cushion, though, so he doesn't have to panic quite so much in this race. He can just try and consolidate, get as much from this race as you possibly can. This is a championship of percentages. It's not just about what you do when you're winning. It's about what you do when you don't. How close did this get as well for Benavidez and Mari Boyer? He actually got airtime.
Yeah, we didn't see that from the above angle. I just saw the contact as now they're still going side by side, as well as Charlie Verts to the inside line. Ugo Gachuru holding it strong around the outside, but he's got a bit too deep. He kept it on the black stuff, which is good news. But we've got Charlie Verts, who knows this track very, very well, Omi, compared to Ugo Gachuru, who doesn't that well.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie Verts, who's, of course, done Formula 3 machinery around this place. Let's hear from Slater.
This tyre looks very strong.
Yeah, that's important. DRS is going to play a major part in this, so if you can just maintain that 1 second, you will have opportunities come this race later on as well. Bruno Del Pino started in 3rd, now is in 5th position, but Ugo Gachuku looking to try go on the charge, and he will try get in the DRS as well of our top 2 as we go to a replay down the Kemmel Straight of some of the battling, and this was Bruno Del Pino coming under threat, and Tasana Polintapuzak trying to overtake him.
And into Puvacek straight on the grass, and I don't like that. Was that forced off, Jake, or was that just him going on the grass if he's going to gorge?
I think that was Taz getting in the draft, pulling out to the left, and then just going a little bit too far left. I think he knew he was going to have to make a big move to get alongside, and it was just a little bit too much of a move with the wheel. He ended up on the grass, and the problem is, at that speed, once you get one wheel on the grass, it's a bit like a slot car. It just sends you to that grass verge. So it was the slightest of errors there from Taz de Vivazet, but the problem is, unless you get out of the throttle, you're not getting off that grass verge. So that really cost him, and it's the slightest little error, but it's dropped him down to 7th now in front of Solov and Kamara.
So it's all status quo for this lap time by for the top 10. Roman Belinsky running in 10th, as you mentioned yesterday, Omi, as well. After his road traffic accident to come back in, he's going to start, was it 3rd on the grid for tomorrow's feature race as well. It's such an impressive run he's got. And he's showing us all this year, actually, exactly what he can do with road to recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. After that accident that he had last year, he's been on the road to recovery, and he's been trying his absolute best, and to be in this position is absolutely extraordinary. His Boyer is absolutely going to roar past down this straight. There we go. Easy stuff, but it might not be as easy behind, though. It is going to be Del Pino wheel to wheel there, and he's going to be up against Stenchorn, who can't get ahead.
Yep, so that's unfortunate coming through as well, staying into position. As just looking where Brandon Beddoe is at the moment in 15th place. He was on the attack of Joe Agee, but has not got any traction so far. And watch out, because I think Beddoe has caused the most safety cars this year so far. Oh, Jake, I'll see you waiting to jump in there.
Well, Del Pino wanting to give MP a really good result here, is making good progress up into 5th position. And this is obviously a very poignant week for MP Motorsport. It's been 2 years now since we rather sadly lost one of their star talents on this very circuit. And there's a big opportunity, of course, for MP Motorsport to salvage something from this first race with Bruno Del Pino, who's a very emotional chap himself. And I know a lot of people have Delano Van Toff in their minds, along with Antoine Hubert this weekend. There was a really nice work that was done by Pierre Gasly and the rest of the drivers doing a jog around the Spa circuit on Thursday, and there were a lot of drivers from this paddock as well as from F2 and F1 that were involved in that, particularly a lot of the members of the MP Motorsport team. So it's been a very poignant one, and here comes Bruno Del Pino. He's got a chance here on Wirtz. Wirtz is going to try and squeeze in to lock him out there at the braking zone, make sure that he's not going to have another opportunity in through the bus stop chicane, but he'll have another chance here down the main straight if he can get a run into La Source. He may get an opportunity, but he's under threat himself here from Martinius Stenzorn. The Norwegian has an opportunity. So what Del Pino's got to be thinking about now is the apex of Eau Rouge. He's got to be on the bumper of Wirtz as he comes up the top of Radion, and Stenzorn's going to have a better run than Del Pino is on Wirtz.
Can he get the nice traction then up the hill into the top of Radion and down the Keppel Straight? The DRS activation zone's coming, but I think he got a better exit anyway as well to come onto the back straight as well. Come on, flick to the inside line. Central should get ahead here if he can just keep the traction, but they are also bringing in Tanasapol into Pruvazak and Solov. The two are coming together along the inside line, but through has gone. Martin Estenshaw up into 5th position. We ride with Solov now. Just want to pick up actually, Omi, as well. Brad Benitez, he's dropped down to 16th place. Lost 4 places on that last lap alone. And there was an investigation that was noted between him and Callum Vozin, which has been given no further action.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff there for Brad Benavides. Kamara currently finds himself in 9th at the moment, if you're wondering where he is as well. And we have Solov directly ahead in P8. He's also on this back of this train that we do get from 5th place downwards, which was for P4. Charlie Wurster trying to make his escape as Del Pino and Stenchel went battling as we make our way through this middle sector. Already lap 6 out of 12. This race absolutely flying by.
Halfway, and I suppose good. Actually, by the way, Jake Sanson, I've got a bit of a sore throat, a bit of a bad tooth. And Sanson, your honey and tea, by the way, great idea, because it's actually helping. Every time I take a sip of it, it's like a breath of niceness. So yeah. So also, honestly,
honestly, honey lemon tea is the 2nd best effective treatment I have ever found as a commentator for bringing back vocal cords. The number 1, by the way, for anybody who's interested, it can be found right here in Belgium. It's those beautiful heart mints. I used to commentate very regularly with Guillaume Alvarez, who is a Belgian national, and he brought the bag of heart mints with me to every commentary we did together. I do not know what they put in those things. Honestly, it probably isn't legal, but it's so good at bringing back the vocal cords. If you've lost your voice as a commentator, 1 or 2 of those and you are right back to full strength. It is absolutely incredible. This is going to be a really tasty battle. I'm really impressed actually with Taz Bubazak, who's been able to bring himself back into this battle despite running off the road in that way. He's clearly been able to nurse the tyres for that half lap. Right, we've got Ugachuku. He's going after Slater. They're going to go wheel to wheel down the Camel Straight up towards Coombe, and no problem at all as through goes Ugachuku. Slater not even fighting it. He's been able to get it working, and here's the Bubazak on the inside of Del Pino. No contest on the inside. Kamara being brave as he tries to stick it to the inside of Solov. Del Pino squeezed by Andrew Bubazak, so Del Pino falls back into the clutches of Kamara. That was close.
If I was Kamara, I'd back off now, because you're going to be completely under the attack, because you've got 3 cars ahead that are angry with each other. Kamara's not in that fight. He did lift off as well and let him back through. Boyer's now just sitting down in 10th position going, well, I'm 2 places away from the points here. Let's take another look at it. This is Mari Boyer down at Pouan.
Oh, he just twitched in the middle.
It's exactly what he did yesterday in qualifying.
Yeah, he had his lap time deleted for that as well. Yesterday, as we look back to a replay of the field who were navigating their way through, and Sheffield Nile dipping some tyres into the gravel there.
It's so easily done, that's the thing. Once the back end starts to kick, it really starts to drift. This was brave to try and stick this round the outside. I mean, most drivers would have bailed out at that point, and obviously he's now got to concede at least one of those places, if not two, if he's not careful. That's Slater trying to get away now. Zugachuku is now in second place, trying to close up to Stromstead, but Slater's in danger of being caught here by Charlie Wirtz. So Wirtz looking very comfortable in the attack for the podium, and they've still got 5 laps to go at the end of this one. Meanwhile, Wirtz's teammate, Kamara, is getting back into this hunt on Del Pino.
So back we come again over the line. There is Rafael Kamara in 9th position with the as well with the DRS open. He's not going to go to the inside of the McLaren livery at MP Motorsport. And so they come back through on the inside line. Nice actually that it matches the MP's livery in total. But yeah, let's just see. We said, what was it, 3 different McLaren drivers here in Formula 3. And none of them took pole position to make it a nice little trio of pole effects so far from McLaren, because of course we've got F2 pole positions coming through. Slater's under pressure this time from Charlie Wirtz and goes down to the inside line, down into Lecombe. Wirtz goes into 3rd place, battle further behind as well, as Kamara gets ahead of Bruno Delpino, and Mari Boy is going to try and send it round the outside as well into Lecombe, and that is a Schumacher-esque move as well. That was perfect round the outside, judged it to absolute perfection.
Wow.
Do you know what? I was having an amazing conversation with Mari Boyer after Silverstone on Instagram. We've talked a lot, me and Mari, since his days in karting. He's such a lovely, lovely guy, and he was really, really fired up after Silverstone. He feels, right, I really figure I know what to do with this car now. I know how to get the best out of myself. It's not going to be easy when you're in such a competitive field, but I've got so much more confidence in myself now. I can really dig deep and deliver something. And this is better from Boyer. The consistency of running in the top 10 is what you need if you're going to move forward. Aston Martin think he's the real deal. That's not a huge surprise when you consider that Marty Boyer has been floating around Oviedo for quite some time now, under the radar of Fernando Alonso's watch camp. So it's a big opportunity for him to be picked up by Aston Martin. That clearly feels that there's potential here for Marty Boyer. Aston Martin have not really gone for young drivers in the past, so the fact that he's the first, it showcases their statement of intent, and they see something in him that notes him out for ability, especially when you consider that Mari Boyer is not the most well-funded man in the category. He doesn't have a lot of funds to carry with him. So again, that's not nepotism. That's not money that he's brought to the table. That's Aston Martin looking at him going, no, this boy's got something we need.
Bit of a move further back as well. We've got 3 wide. That's a bit dangerous on the inside line, as Dominguez, who had a black and white flag track limits warning, is now being given a 5-second time penalty as well. Moving up the pace, and then Freddie Slater's really in trouble as Silver going to go 3 wide down to Rouge. Do not do that. Slater has to literally lift up. He's got Twitch. Slater Twitch mid-corner. Did he get through? No, he's off the track. They're both off the track.
Yeah, Slater's got a real tyre problem. He's got a massive tyre problem here. I think it went in the first 4 laps. He was pushing so hard to try and get away from Stromstead that the tyres are just baked. And as a result, he's a sitting target for everybody else. Here comes Solov now in behind Stenzorn. Kamara's in the mix there as well. Look, Slater's gone off again. Something's really, really wrong with those tyres. As Solov desperately trying to find that move on Stenzorn. Stenzorn is all over the road trying to keep it back. And all this has really benefited Kamara. This is smart driving from the Brazilian. That's why he's the championship leader. Look, he's back into P6. He's right back in this now.
It was P10 a couple of laps ago. How much can he do? He doesn't look into it. As you said, he's a smart driver. Just holds back and waits for everybody else to make the mistakes as well, as they fly through Puongomi, and now they come back through. Yeah, Freddie, you've seen him in the other categories as well where he can dominate, but this is a whole different kettle of fish to where he's been in the GB3s, the Fracos, everywhere, even Italian F4 a couple of years ago. It's a different kettle of fish, this car to drive, as I said earlier. Its rear downforce, it's low, but the brakes and tyre wear is very high.
Yeah, absolutely. But he will definitely take this as a learning experience, and everything helps before a full-time season next year, and what plans he decides to do with that. As Stenzorn has Solov all over the back. Solov is going to be getting closer and closer as we approach Blanchimont corner, and then he'll be tucked up right behind into the bus stop chicane as well. Will the Red Bull Junior doesn't even look for a move.
Inside line, I knew that was coming. Late on the brakes and he's through. Beautiful move. So Solov up to fourth.
Stenzon could really have seen that coming a little bit earlier. I mean, he kind of left the door open there, ultimately, for Solov to storm through. And that's not really something that you want to be doing at this point. Now he's going to have to go defensive to Kamara. I wonder if Stenzon's nursing some tyre issues now as well.
I mean, if I could see that coming, and I don't even race then and point, and he was going to do it, then he should be able to do it. The mirrors work in both the directions, and so does the throttle. He should have put it down.
Slater's woes can be put down to one word: Pirelli. These are a very different type of tyre to what he's used to in the past. He's having to learn a car that he's fairly comfortable with, but tyres that he's not yet. He's still learning the language and the code of these Pirellis. Side by side again, this is going to be Kamara around the outside of Stenzon. Gorgeous move. That is exactly what you want to be doing, and these are the points that you pick up to win a championship.
I wonder if Solov might...
Their way to the field in the late stages.
You can do it. We all trust in you. Come on.
A little bit of words of wisdom there for Charlie Vert, staying in third position. He's got 3 seconds on Solov at the moment. I wonder if Solov might just be given just a little bit of a warning there from race control, because he did move 3 times on that back straight as well. So you're not allowed to weave. You're allowed to move once to defend and once to regain your original position. Any more than that, and it's a penalty from race control. Introduced, of course, after... well, it's always been the rule, hasn't it, Jay? But it was really Hamilton in Malaysia where they knuckled down with it.
Oh my word, that's how difficult the tyres are for Slater. Sorry to change subject, but Del Pino round the outside into the Fania. I mean, that is how difficult Slater's finding these tyres at the moment. But you're absolutely right, that one move to defend, one move to regain, it's such a fine line, and drivers will try and flirt with that as much as they possibly can, and they will argue, well, that wasn't a move. Oh no, Boyer's got a penalty.
It's a 5-second time penalty, the same as Dominguez. Now, Boyer in 8th, trying to work out that will push him down to 15th place.
Yeah. No points for Boyer. That is devastating. I mean, he really ran the gauntlet there for track limits, but, well, it's just a little bit too far. But we saw, didn't we, those little snaps of oversteer that you've got to try and correct. It's so easy to find those little biting points as well when you're at the limit. These cars, all it takes is the slightest little, sort of the car equivalent of a myoclonic jerk. It just snaps away just the tiniest bit, and you've got to counteract it, otherwise the whole thing will go. A lot of drivers from Formula One down have been complaining about the crosswinds here. How has Stromstad got that far ahead of Ugochukwu? That is insane.
He saved his tyres, he saved his... He's a tyre whisperer. I didn't expect this today from him.
He is, yeah.
Oh, then again, more defensive driving coming through.
Taz, what are you doing on the grass?
Oh my God, and now he's going to have Murray Boyer around the outside, and Boyer's got that penalty, yes, but he's going to want as many positions as possible. Tenasco to prove himself, putting himself everywhere. Brilliant defending as well, coming through from Stenchel, but that's just not going to happen.
Well, he's putting himself on the grass. That's the problem. He needs to stay off the green stuff. Taz is twice now trying to go for overtaking moves, and rather than bail out, he's taken to the grass. It's like, dude, you're going to keep your tyres much longer in lifespan if you stay off the greenery.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to keep it on the road if you want to be getting positions and keeping them as well. Teofil Nall has been given a black and white flag. That is for track limits. We saw Boyer just get a penalty for that a couple of moments ago. But now, Del Pino looking to attack Boyer on the circuit. But of course, he'll be more trying to get up to into Pruvzak and Stenshorn to see whether he can make that move. But 7 seconds for Noah Stromstad on his way for a first victory in Formula 3. He's been twice on 2 occasions. So this is going to be a big moment for him as he's about to go on to the final lap of the race.
7 kilometres.
Amazing.
A long way, isn't it, to get through? But this battle is still going to brew. This is a replay on board with Martin Stenshall, and there, Tanasa pulling to Pruvzak. He should have backed out of that one.
See, why is he still committing at that point? He knows that Stenzon isn't going to give him a lot of space. He knows that he's running out of opportunities. So why risk sticking there on the inside line when you've got absolutely no chance of having 4 wheels on the circuit? That's the point for me, is that, look, if you just feather the throttle, get back on his wing, you've got a better chance at the inside when he's got to take a slightly wider trajectory to get round the radius of the corner. If you're committing down the straight and putting a wheel on the grass, that's lunacy.
And now Murray Boyer will know that. He's going to do it again because he's going to have the run up through Aruj and Turani on the Kemmel straight with the DRS. so he's going to be on the attack. This could be a very big accident if they're not careful. As here we go again, look, in the background, just take a look. Estensio's going to go defensive, yet pulls to the inside line. Taspol into Privas, that keeps it. Mari Boyer does go for the attack. He tried to Hakkinen, and it's not working out this time. And through has gone to Taspol into Privas, but he's gone wide. Mari Boyer's going to try and take 2 into 1. Jumps over the curbs twice. And he's downshifting desperately, but that's bringing back in Bruno Delpino. It's brought in Badoa, and all of a sudden the 3 McLaren drivers are all running together.
That was a nice idea in principle from Mari Boyer. I knew exactly what he was trying to do, but he just got a little bit too far on the curb. He just took a little bit too tight a line. If he were able to come a little bit more onto the curb itself, I think he might have made that.
I thought too as well, because it is a raised curb, but you can get traction in it quite easily with that super grippy black. It's not even tarmac. It's sort of like the asphalt you get in a school playground that they've put down there this weekend as well. So to be fair, if you fall on it, you're not going to graze your knee, unless you're Megan and somehow she managed to she ripped a ligament in the leg. Literally comes into the commentary box with boot on her foot for 6 races. It was ridiculous. Anyway, coming up to the line, 6 seconds ahead will be Noah Stromstedt for his 3rd Formula 3 victory. He hasn't just dominated, he's absolutely destroyed the competition today as they come through. There he is, out of the bus stop. He's still giving it plenty. The checker flag falls and he's a 3-time winner in Formula 3. Stromstedt wins in fine fashion. Ugo Gachuru in 2nd and Charlie Wirtz holds on for 3rd. Solov 4th and Rafael Kamara comes into 5th and holds off then to Nassable into Privazak and Stenchel. Boyer with a penalty drops down, and he gets 15th place.
Wow, what a shame for Boyer, but Delpino gets a point for MP. Trident absolutely overjoyed and well deserved as well. Noah Stromstedt just driving out of his skin. It was almost as if he was in an F2 car and everybody else was in F3. Absolutely phenomenal drive from Noah Stromstedt. Just calm, patient, conserved. Excellent.
Super race, mate. Bravo. Good job.
Yeah, thank you, man. Car was a rocket ship today. It was very nice to drive.
He's such a quiet, calm man, Josh. He's such really, really reserved. He's not the most bombastic of personalities, but he gets his head down, he gets the job done. Even in karting, he was not a particularly flamboyant personality, and he was kind of in the background in FIA karting a lot. He would knock on the door of the top 10 regularly, but he would never really do anything spectacular. But it was all of that training, all of that soaking up of the data, the understanding of tyres. Genius.
You go, very good. Well done.
Yeah, copy. Good job, guys. That was good.
Yeah, super race, super race.
Sorry, these painkillers are making me say different things. I meant to say he went from 3rd to 1st for his 1st win, not 3rd win. Sorry. I've taken
look at the rubbish all over the circuit. Did you see that on that shot? I have never seen Spa-Francorchamps look so dirty at that particular part of the course. There is so much standing debris. I'm amazed we didn't get a billion punctures and yellow flags. We didn't even get a yellow flag, to my knowledge.
No, not one.
Charlie, bravo.
Yeah, good job.
I'm wondering, I'm going to Google, is this the fastest ever F3 race we've had here?
It might well be, It might well be.
That was rapid stuff.
In total, it ran for 38 minutes. Is it?
Wow, that is quick.
28 minutes. 28 minutes.
That's a quick F3 race. That's a really quick F3 race.
That's not even a Freca race.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Championship.
Well done, Noah. Strong drive, my friend. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Super happy for you. Bravo. Thank you, mate. It was amazing this time, the car.
It is, I think, the fastest ever. 36 minutes from 23. 24 as well. I can't find the 24.
That is incredible, though.
My goodness me.
Interesting to know that Charlie Wirtz's current sponsor, or one of his current sponsors, is. I was looking at the side of the. I was looking at the side of his engine cover. There it is. That's Giovanotti. I had to do a double take there because that is Lorenzo Cherubini, who is the Italian equivalent of Robbie Williams, essentially. So I'm not quite sure how he's managed to get. Yeah, look, Giovanotti, the new album. Now his new album has just been released. I think it's his 15th or 16th album or something like that. But yeah, he's got friends in very high places.
Can we get tickets to the concert, please? That'd be nice.
Well, I think he is touring Italy at the moment.
He is,
so yeah, fair enough.
I've got the answer, by the way. Last year was the fastest in the sprint race, 29 minutes and 3 seconds. We've beaten it. I believe this one ran to 27 minutes.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Not a single... Well, I was going to say there were no wheels wrong. There were several wheels wrong through that race, but to be fair to everybody, they actually kept themselves out of harm's way. They left space for each other. They didn't drive stupidly. They were just racing on the ragged edge. They were pushing as hard as they had to. There were a couple of penalties handed out, but I didn't see a single yellow flag zone for the entirety of that race. There were no big crashes. We got a bit of airtime for Brad Benavides, which dropped him back. But that was the worst incident in that entire sprint race. Incredible.
And if you look also to 2023 as well, in the sprint race, where we only got like under 2 racing laps, basically.
Yeah, we did only get 2 racing laps.
Yeah, exactly. If we compare it to that, then this was incredible.
I mean, I think every time the juniors race, I go, oh, thank God for that. Because I've been of the opinion that we shouldn't race here in the junior formula because of how many accidents we have. That might have just proved me wrong.
I do get what you mean. There has been a lot of talk about this for the last 8 or 9 years or so. You know, should the junior formula actually be competing at this level? Is this a circuit that's only really good enough for Formula 1 drivers or GT drivers? Is there an argument to suggest that single-seaters at junior level, when you're 15, 16, 17, should they be subjected to this? And that race will actually have done a lot to prove to people that, yeah, you can run an effectively good single-seater race here. It's not the circuit, it's the driving standards. That's what needs to be investigated. And there was the proof right there. I wonder if there was a conversation in drivers' briefing amongst the drivers. Look, we have had far too many incidents here of late. We are still trying to figure out how to do this. You can do a lot of that hard work. Sort this out amongst yourselves. Show us that you deserve to be here, or we will take scalpels. And I think for once the drivers have actually listened. You know, we've had an amazingly clean race. That was ridiculously entertaining from start to finish, and we didn't need a million yellow flags and safety cars to make it happen.
I'm really pleased. That's it. That's done a lot. I agree with you. And even me, who's been saying for years across many different networks, we shouldn't be racing here because it's dangerous. We lose drivers. And it's just, why do we subject ourselves to it year in, year out? That was thrilling. Even when it looked like it was going to go 3 wide, they backed out of it. They had the common sense to do it, and that is the good thing. I mean, drivers will probably say to each other, well, why did you back out of that? It's 3 wide, you had an opportunity to go for it. It's not about that.
I can try again next year.
Yeah, exactly.
I could try again next year.
When I'm in a better car, in a better safety standard. Because even though Formula 3 has got the same rigorous testing as Formula 1 and Formula 2 for car safety, we've seen quite publicly accidents at this circuit in cars that are supposed to be the safest ever. It doesn't work. So yeah, even in GT.
Absolutely right. You know, I mean, we got so lucky with the W Series a few years ago.
Yeah.
We could have ended up with a big scalp there as well. So it comes down to education. It comes down to teaching these drivers how they need to drive. And you can always say, oh, well, yeah, but racing drivers are racing drivers. But it's about drumming into drivers. Look, we're live to the world. We're up against the likes of football, rugby, tennis, cricket. We can showcase that we are incredibly young. There's no sport like this on the planet. You don't really get the sort of the teenage leagues of football and cricket and rugby televised at this level. It never happens. Only in motorsport, really, does it happen at this level, that we get this kind of live coverage televised and whatever. Doesn't happen in any of the other leagues. So there's a lot of scrutiny on these young drivers' shoulders, but all it takes is a bit of education. All it takes is a little bit of basic common sense and understanding. And 30 drivers went out there and proved that it can work.
I'll say one thing further to you as well. We don't broadcast, you know, 5-a-side kids football matches who are playing together at schools, but we do show all the cards in. So
We do indeed, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just eyes on you all the time. It's the most competitive industry.
I mean, one of the championships I commentate on, Josh, is the British Mini Bike Championship. And it's not like karting in that you have regional circuit championships within championships for karting. If you want to do British mini bikes, you have got to learn by going straight into the British Championship. You've got to be a rookie, having never ridden that bike before, racing it for the first time. You know, new riders will be lapped 2 or 3 times in their first race because that's what they've got. But it's televised. The whole thing is broadcast live. And that's an incredible amount of pressure to put on a young kid. And then as they go through the ranks, it's an incredible amount of pressure to put on teenagers when they're trying to showcase their ability to sponsors, when they're trying to put themselves in the shop window for race drives in WEC, in Formula E, in Formula One, in IndyCar. You have no idea the amount of pressure and stress these drivers are under. I only have about a 15% understanding as a commentator, chatting with these guys, watching and going through it with them in the garages. And I literally only scratched the surface of that iceberg. The amount of pressure these guys are under, it's unbelievable.
I'm sure you did the same thing of spending a weekend in the back of one of the garages, just seeing how everything works. And I did that last year with Maddie's race team in WCR, and I was gobsmacked about, even at that level, how much everybody is just frantic in that paddock, and it was unbelievable. And there's a great documentary that's actually been released as well from the Cosmic Network that's on YouTube as well, which is Full Limit. It's a documentary about women in motorsport and how it's been progressing throughout, women in engineering and riders, and it's a fantastic documentary. I'm in it as well. You can see me a couple of times because when they were filming it at Donington, I'm just sort of hanging around. Apparently I was a continuity nightmare because I had different jackets on every day because it was it was Donington Park, and as we know, that weather changes every 5 minutes. So
always have the same colour jacket as your T-shirt, mate. That's how you got to play it.
Yeah. So
but it is astonishing, you know, the amount of strain these guys are under, and it's, you know, it's really pleasing actually to see 3 lads that I know very well and have known very well for several years in the F1 weekend doing their thing.
Podium ceremony underway on the top of the gantry as Stromstead collects his race winner's trophy. And look how happy. He's composed, isn't he? He's not going to let it all go to his head. He knows he's got a race tomorrow, but I bet when he gets off that podium, it's going to be screaming, crying, everything.
Noah's ice cool. He's always been a very, very ice cool kind of calculated guy. Doesn't really let his emotions out very easily. So he's the kind of guy who'll keep it under wraps. He's very similar to Oscar Piastri in that respect. Ugo Chukwu, he'll actually be disappointed with that. I think second place, he felt this weekend if qualifying had gone better, he could have turned that into a victory. Even if he'd have been on the top step of the podium, though, you wouldn't have seen much more histrionics from Ugo. He's very quiet too. Charlie, a little bit more of an enthusiastic character. I think he's very proud. There's his father, Alex. He tries to get to as many of his events as he possibly can. I had a lovely conversation with him at the beginning of the year in Qatar about Charlie and Oscar's prospects. He couldn't be more proud of the progress they're both making.
I can't shout it. I can't get my voice that high. If somebody else could just shout "It's Champagne Town," that'd be very nice.
Okay, so the boys are out there. Champagne time. I want to do mine my catchphrase,
on,
which
do
is
it.
slightly different.
Go for it.
They got busy with the busy. That's my one. That's the one that everybody knows me for.
I can't get my voice that high. Not at the moment. I thought I was turning into Ben Edwards when the lights went out, though, as well. I can feel the gravel in the back of the voice, all coming through, pushing it. I'll tell you what,
There's
though.
enough of it all over the track at Spa, to
Yeah.
be fair. It's probably
One thing that always surprised me about Ugo Couture, I said this yesterday, he's got very long legs and he's got an equally high torso. It's just like it looks like one of those Mr. Stretchy dogs.
It's interesting. There was a lot of conversation back in the past about whether he'd be suitable to keep this journey going. But, you know, the advancement in the technology of F1 cars and Indy cars, he'll be perfectly ready. And I think he's still F1 material. I think he's got what it takes to push it. We're still waiting for that superstar American to work their way forward. I think Ugochukwu's got what it takes. I think he's got the mentality.
Yeah.
Were you in Macau or were you around Macau during the Grand Prix? I can't remember.
I was around Macau, and I've certainly spent quite a few winters with him now, because he did a lot of the Formula Regional Middle East and F4 Middle East, and obviously he came through FIA karting, so I've known him very well. The guy is so chilled, and he has done a complete transformation from his karting days. You would struggle to get 5 words out of him in FIA karting. He just did not want to talk to anybody. The only thing he was interested in was helmet on, go quick. He couldn't do anything else. And now he has become, you know, a real superstar athlete. He's going to make his mark. I think he's got what it takes to go to the top.
So we've got a couple, about an hour 15 into one here again for the pre-show for Formula One. Reminder, we've got Formula E, their second practice session with Tom Brooks talking you through that. That's going to be at 9:55. Qualifying comes your way at 12:15. I'll be back on for that one. I'm missing the F2 sprint. Sanson and Omi are going to be talking you through that one as well. Final thoughts though, Omi, starting with you. What do you make of that F3 race?
Quite an interesting one. As you mentioned, they kept it clean and it was great to see, but they also entertained us at the same time. So, lovely F3 sprint, all eyes to feature tomorrow.
Yeah, and Sanson, this is a weird gap now. Usually it's 20 minutes go for F2 and then even F1 practice. It's going to be weird, the sprint weekend in Europe, that we've shifted everything around. And what are you most looking forward to ahead of F2 and your thoughts on F3?
I think the F2 sprint should be another similar race to what we saw from F3. I'm glad that the junior categories are starting to pay attention more. They are being more sensible, exactly what we should see from them. I have a feeling that if it stays dry, we've got some really clean but really hard racing on the way.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Ermi. Thanks to all of you at home as well. We'll be back then for ourselves in the Belgian paddock at 10:15 for the pre-show for the F1 sprint. Reminder that we are going to be in for a very entertaining sprint race with the pole position and the front row being Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen down towards the first corner. We'll see you then in an hour's time. Go get some breakfast, or if you're Jake Sanson, go get some lunch. Bye-bye.